Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think we all agree. If capital standards are too low, we face the risk of needing bailouts. If they're too high, our economy is smaller than it otherwise would be. But we should also agree that if you discriminate against certain borrowers and help other borrowers, you pick winners and losers. But what's worse is if you pick the wrong winners and the wrong losers. Banking is too important to just focus on the bank. It allocates capital in a society dedicated to capitalism. Now, there's real risk in loaning money to Jack's Pizzeria in Tarzana. And we should state that fairly and have adequate reserves. But we shouldn't understate that risk just because the pizza's delicious. We shouldn't understate that risk just because we love small business. But when we look at Basel III's current configuration, we see a system designed to oppress, to discriminate against small business, new home buyers and all home buyers, and U.S. taxpayers for absolutely irrational reasons, except for the fact that the people in Basel all just feel real comfortable with giant corporations and their long-term bonds. First is to home buyers. First, there's a proposal here to increase the risk weight beyond the Basel levels for all home mortgages. And then, as I've commented before in this room, they ignore private mortgage insurance. So you have a system that discriminates against all home buyers and then doubly discriminates against the first-time home buyers with the low down payment that need the private mortgage insurance. I've heard no defense of this. It's just people jump up and down and say, Basel, Basel, wonderful town. Let's just do what's in the document. Don't read it too carefully. Then we have intentional discrimination against small businesses in two ways. As Mr. Flood points out, if it's a public company, we discriminate in favor of them and against the private company. But second, small businesses don't post an interest rate risk because they tend to have floating rates or short-term loans. The 30-year fixed rate bond is discriminated in favor of because we don't mark to market. Had we done that, we would have realized that Silicon Valley Bank had $17 trillion in unrealized losses. But even after that, we've got a system that discriminates against the small business and in favor of the competing 30-year corporate bond that is not marked to market. Then Ms. Taser says we should also discriminate in favor of the crypto billionaire bubble creators. I just say you don't have to be a genius to recognize that crypto assets are very volatile. And then in the area of long-term bonds, we discriminate in favor of the corporate bond and against the treasury bond by treating them both the same, even though the treasury bond doesn't have the risk and the corporate bond does. So we have a system here designed to unfairly discriminate against home buyers, particularly first-time home buyers, small business as opposed to publicly traded big business, and the U.S. government and its taxpayers. Gee, what could go? Well, what's the matter with that? Ms. Eversole, the Basel III endgame proposal for 2023 included higher risk weights for mortgages than recommended by the Basel Committee. As I pointed out, it discriminates in favor of publicly traded companies. How do your banks take capital requirements into consideration or when making a small business loan or a home loan? And would the consequences of this be fewer loans for home buyers and small businesses?
Congressman, you said it very well. The impact is straightforward. It would reduce the amount of loans made, and it would make the ones that are made more expensive. It was a bad, flawed proposal, and we need to see, we look forward to seeing the reproposal that we expect as soon as possible.
Ms. Almon, we've got a system that pretty much ignores PMI. It does not follow the FHFA Enterprise Regulatory Capital Framework that Fannie and Freddie use. What should the Basel, what should this regulation do with regard to mortgages?
I think the the risk weights that were originally put in the original proposal were too high and need to be revised.
Thank you.